Hi everyone, how are you? The Good Doctors, everyone, a little bit review about it. I am quite surprised by so many people's distaste for the show. I, on the other hand, have watched every episode 3.5 seasons with 20 episodes each, lasting for 1 hour within a month. I've grown so obsessed with it that I watched the first season one more time and I'm watching it now again with my parents for the third time. There has been no show in my life that I've been this obsessed with that I remember, actually. And I have watched some really great shows like Game of Thrones, The Expanse, and numerous sitcoms like Friends, Big Bang Theory, all of which I've watched multiple times. Here's why I'm obsessed with The Good Doctor. A lot of people here criticize the show for portraying Dr. Sean Murphy like some sort of a heroic savant. They fail to see his failures like total inability to say the appropriate thing at the appropriate time. Sean makes quite a few mistakes also. He makes mistakes in diagnosis, he gambles on the odds. Some of them cause outrage, others downright kill patients. I think these mistakes counterbalance his portrayal as a heroic savant. Unfortunately, though, you get to see these aspects of him only in the later episodes, something you couldn't have possibly picked up if you have judged the show too early after not having watched it enough episodes. Another criticism I don't agree with is the way they show graphics that supposedly portrays Sean's thinking. If you look closely, those graphics are actually snapshots of pictures on the books he recalls reading. Sometimes he collates all the information and pictures and visualizes them after putting those images together, but it's rare. This is exactly how I think, and I am personally impressed with how accurately the showrunners represented how many autistic people think. His savant syndrome is the focus of the show only in the first season. From the second one onwards, the show starts focusing on the characters around him. It attempts to show how a world exists outside of an artist's head and how an artist's thought and actions affect the world around him. By the time you get to the third season, you will get to see how every character has problems and flaws in their lives and how artists tend to be self-centered and oblivious to others' feelings. I especially love how they make this point without actually judging Sean as a person for his artistic way of thinking. In the fourth season, many episodes completely focus on the other characters and end up showing Sean as a cameo. These are the parts where I am so impressed. I have no words to describe it. Here's why. In the fourth season, the showrunners actually try and make us experience how others feel when they are around Sean. When you have major problems of your own, it is natural to get annoyed by someone who constantly talks about himself and his own problems. You actually get to experience the irritation you would feel when someone discusses his problems with you, but also happens to discuss the same things over and over again with everyone else you know. So much so that he and his mundane problems are the center of everyone's attention when there are far more important things to focus on. The fourth season also lets you experience what it's like to be subordinate to Sean. Watching some of the episodes this season made me realize, wow, this is what I must sound like to other people. Overall, I think the show does a fantastic job of showing the viewer what it's like to have autism and what it's like to be with someone who has autism. Plus, there is the music, screenplay, and the portrayal of emotions that gave me goosebumps. Now, there's my criticism of the show. They missed or download meltdowns, shutdowns, and breakdowns. Sure, Sean does experience breakdowns and shutdowns in one episode. He experiences as a meltdown because of which he's absconding from the hospital for 2 days because he went on a road trip with his neighbor Leah. I find the act that he recovered from that meltdown in just 2 days quite unrealistic. If I were him, I would have taken at least 1 week off. His special interests are too benign. The only special interest of his that I can recall is the fact that he likes watching the Weather Channel. Even then, he doesn't talk much about the weather. If you would call his interest in medicine a special interest, then I'd find it a bit too convenient. And too many deus ex machina. Granted, the show did a good job at avoiding this plot device in the medical parts, but it being and another part of the story is quite annoying, like Leah falling out of the friend zone after seeing him save a patient. Nah. The showrunners have extensive medical knowledge but exceedingly poor engineering knowledge. Leah, being a young automotive engineer who makes $70,000 in San Jose area, who would rather build cars and so quits her job and goes to Pennsylvania to work with her brother in his auto shop. Then returns to San Jose and ends up heading the IT department at the hospital makes me roll my eyes so hard I could be diagnosed with nystagmus. Seriously, there are way too many problems with his portrayal of Leia. The 70K salary in San Jose is too low. The average is 90. Seriously, a pretty girl of her size building cars, unless the showrunners actively try to avoid stereotypes, I'm not buying it. Also, she does nothing when Sean character crashes her car. No dialogues about car parts, nothing about how to fix it, so her interest in cars not believable. The skills needed in building cars is different from those from designing them, but that's okay. It's believable to see a character interested in both. What's stupid is that she mentioned coding. Then she ends up interviewing with Dr. Glassman for the position of an AT head. That's like interviewing with a lawyer to be hired as a car mechanic at Walmart. Now, I think this is a problematic with Hollywood in general. Everyone in Hollywood seems to think that in order to get laid, the only thing a guy has to do is to go and flirt with the woman he is interested in. And poof, they're not. They're in bed together. The reality is far from that, especially for a narcissistic guy. So, that was pretty much everything about this show. See you next video and don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Bye. See you next time.